Today I'm going to tie one of the most popular streamer patterns ever to originate from Iceland. This pattern is called the Rektor by late great Icelandic fly tying legend Kolbeinn Grímsson. Now the hook I have in the vise is from Ahrex. This is the NS118, the classic streamer. This is a size 10. You can tie this pattern bigger, way bigger even, but I feel personally that size 10 is is a universally great size for river fishing and lake fishing as well, for brown trout in Iceland. I'm going to be tying this fly with the classic vext from SemperFli. The theme of the pattern is yellow, so I go with a yellow thread, but you can honestly go with white or black, just what you have lying around really. Now to start off, we're going to build a little bit of an underbody. And just cover the shank with a little bit of thread. It doesn't have to be perfect. And the underbody, I'm going to use this Uni-Yarn. You're basically not going to see anything, any part of this underbody when the fly is finished. So if you only have black, brown, whatever, really white, it's not going to matter. So just tie it in. Now, one thing that you need to keep in mind when you're tying this pattern is that the space behind the eye, it's going to get pretty busy later on in the fly. We're going to have some jungle cock, we're going to have a collar, and we're going to have a wing as well. So keep that in mind. Give yourself a few millimeters to work with, just so you don't run into any issues. That's about it. We're not going to build a super bulky body. It's just something to give the fly a little bit more of a profile. So run your thread over the Uni-Yarn, cut off, and move to the back of the hook. Now the tail and the body of this pattern is made up from this yellow and black Grizzly cock hackle. This material is tough to find. It can be, at least, especially here in Iceland. But every now and again, we get some nice saddles. The length of the tail, we're aiming for pretty much the hook shank. Can be a little bit longer. Just catch the feathers. If you haven't noticed, these are two feathers that I'm laying together. Make sure everything looks nice before securing properly. Built up a tangle here. That's fine. So when you're satisfied with the tail, just take your thread and move it forward. The body, as I said, it's made out from these two feathers. So just take the hackle and wrap it You don't have to do like full touching turns. Just make it look nice. When you're satisfied, secure the stems. Cut away the excess. Now, building the body, it's really easy. What you want to do is you want to wet your fingertips a little bit, take the hackle and just stroke them back and follow with your thread. Put some extra wraps at the end and go up the shank again. All right. You don't need to trim it, but I usually do. Okay, now the next material is the wing, and we're going to use this yellow squirrel tail. In my opinion, squirrel is one of the hardest material to work with. And that's probably just because, you know, I'm clumsy, but the hairs are quite hard and they're really slippery. So you want to put some extra grip on your thread, which is why I put some fly tires wax on it, just to make sure that the hairs don't slip out. Now the length, you're going for at least the hook shank and preferably a little bit longer onto the tail. Just grab a firm hold with your left hand. Secure it. Everything looks good. And move down towards the eye, but not all the way. At this point, putting a little bit of sap gap is always a good idea. Just because this is, as I said, it's quite slippery. Now the next material is one that almost causes controversy. I'm going to be using this synthetic jungle cock substitute. The main reason for that is I don't have the natural one, so this is a good substitute, but for some reason some fly tyers just absolutely hate it with a passion, and I can understand it, but this is what I'm going to use today. I basically just pick one and do one at a time. Couple of wraps, looks like this. And the other one. So just make sure that the lengths on both sides are the same. And once you're happy, secure it down. The sap gap that we put for the squirrel, it's helping us a little bit here as well, because the jungle cock is quite slippery, and the sap definitely helps keep it in place. Okay, so the collar, I'm using a feather from the same cox saddle that the tail and the body is from. What I do, you've probably seen this 1,000 times. I just split the fibers and cut a little bit of a tack for easier tying. Some fly tires wax helps with the grip. There you go. And just wrap the hackle like you would with any other streamer. I tend to wet my fingertips just a little bit and then steer the hackle in the direction that I want it to lay. And don't worry if the hackle isn't laying exactly like you want it to. We're going to take care of it when we finish off the fly. Once you're happy, run the thread over the hackle stem once or twice. Snip away. We're going to finish up with a yellow thread before we finish off the head. Looks nice. Now, one of the main characteristics of the Rektor pattern is the flaming red head. That's pretty much a hotspot. You can use red head cement, you can use red UV resin if you have one. I'm going to be using this red tying thread, the powell thread from Textream. This is similar to the nano silk. The reason that I prefer this one is just the color is so bright and it's a great material for this application at least. Save your scissors. Now the head, it can be pretty bulky. I mean, this is a hotspot. This is one of the things that helps this pattern catch fish. So you don't need to do the super tiny head. There we go. And finally, as always, as we talked about under another video that I did here on YouTube, I prefer the head cement to finish off. I just feel like it, you know, for durability, it's a better option than the UV resin. There you go. The Rektor, one of the most famous Icelandic fly pattern for brown trout, especially. It's an absolute killer pattern for brown trout, so please tie some up if you're heading to Iceland. Thanks for watching.